verse 5.
1 Samuel 18 and 5. And David went out wheresoever Saul sent him, and behaved himself wisely. And Saul set him over the men of war.
Over the men of who?
Over the men of war.
Go ahead.
And he was accepted in the sight of all the people, and also in the sight of Saul's servants.
Go ahead.
And it came to pass, as they came, when David was returned from the slaughter of the Philistines, that the women came out of all this. That the women came out of all the cities of Israel, singing and dancing, to meet Saul with tabrets and with joy and with instruments of music. And the women answered one another as they played and said, Saul hath slain his thousands.
So Saul hath slain his thousands, right?
And David his 10,000.
Oh man, so Saul is supposed to be the big dog right here, but he only killed thousands, and David 10,000. How y'all think Saul feel about this? He ain't like this, but he ain't like that at all. Let's go back to Genesis 49. Pick it up at verse 8 again.
Genesis 49 and 8. Judah, you are he whom your brethren shall praise.
So Judah is the one whom his brethren shall praise. Go ahead.
Your hand shall be in the neck of your enemies.
So the hand shall be in the neck of the enemies. So we just saw it said that David killed thousands, right? 10,000. My bad. 10,000. That's Saul. Let's hold that. Let's get Psalms 18 and verse 40. As it says right here, that is, his hand shall be in the neck of the enemies. Psalms 18 and 40.
The book of Psalms, chapter 18 and verse 40.
So this is David speaking about himself and the future king. Simultaneous. Read.
You have also given me the necks of my enemies.
He gave him what?
The necks of my enemies.
He gave him the necks of the enemies, because it just told us right over here, Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Let's go back. 2 Samuel. In fact, 2 Samuel 5 and 1.
The book of 2 Samuel, chapter 5 and verse 1. Then came all the tribes of Israel to David unto Hebron, and spake, saying, Behold, we are your bone and your flesh. Also, in time past, when Saul was king over us, you were he that led out and brought in Israel. And the Lord and Yahuwah said to you, you shall feed my people Israel, and you shall be a captain over Israel. So all the elders of Israel came to the king to Hebron, and King David made a league with them in Hebron before Yahuwah, and they anointed David king over Israel.
So right here, he is the one whom our brethren shall praise. So they given David this royal treatment, which really is a picture of what that's going to happen with the Messiah in the future. Let's go back to Genesis 49. Notice, again, we only in this book. And the precept is showing what this is actually talking about. Genesis 49 and verse 9.
Genesis chapter 49 and verse 9. Judah is a lion's whelp. For the prey, from the prey, my son, you are going up. He stooped down, and he couches as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rise him up? The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet.
So it says, the scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet. Now we know that the scepter left from the northern kingdom, because they went off. Read.
Until Shiloh come, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be.
Unto him shall the gathering of the people be. Hold that. Let's get 2 Chronicles 21:7.
Second Chronicles
21:7.
chapter 21 and verse 7. Howbeit, Yahuwah would not destroy the house of David because of the covenant that he made with David, and he promised to give a light to him and to his sons forever.
For how long?
Forever.
Forever. So this don't happen until Shiloh come, or the coming of Shiloh. Let's get Ezekiel. Remember, it said the gathering of the people. Ezekiel chapter 20 and verse 33.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 20 and verse 33. As I live, saith the Master Yahuwah, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out will I rule over you. And I will bring you out from the people and will gather you out of the countries wherein you are scattered.
Because unto him shall the gathering of the people be. Read.
With a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people. And there I will plead with you face to face.
Oh, yeah?
Like I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt. So will I plead with you, saith Yahuwah Elohim. And I will cause you to pass under the rod. And I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. And I will purge you out from among you the rebels and them that transgress against me, and I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel, and you shall know I am Yahuwah.
So we know that David didn't do this part right here. The gathering of the people is talking about the Messiah directly. Let's go back. Genesis 49. Pick it up at verse 12.
Verse 12. His eyes shall be red with wine, and his teeth white with milk.
So it says his eyes shall be red with wine, and his teeth white with milk. Now, we just finished the whole thing up about Judah right here. Does this give you any indication where Judah is located at? It don't? Okay. All right, hold that. Get Revelations 1 and 14. So it says, his eyes shall be red with wine, and his teeth white with milk. Revelations 1 and 14, and we're coming right back over here.
The book of Revelation, chapter 1 and verse 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire.
So we got that. We know that this is talking about a Mashiach. It's coming right back. Pick it up at Genesis 49 and verse 13. Let's get Zebulon. So y'all agree, all of this right here, it didn't give us any indication as to where Judah was located, right? Right. All right.
Genesis 49 and verse 13. Zebulon shall dwell at the haven of the sea.
Of the sea. Pull that chart back up again for me, y'all. So it says, Zebulon shall dwell at the haven of the sea. Go ahead.
And he shall be for a haven of ships.
So Zebulon, where he's at, there's going to be plenty of water. Who do they say Zebulon is at?
Guatemala to Panama.
So Zebulon is be from Guatemala to Panama. Read that again. Get your definition.
Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea, and he shall be for a haven of ships, and his border shall be unto Zidon.
So according to this, where will his borders be at? To Zidon. So now we finna look up something and see where this is at. Genesis 49:13. It says Zidon, right? But this chart says Guatemala to Panama, right? Where's the Zidon at?
Let me get this one right here.
Yeah.
It says the Mediterranean, an ancient Phoenician city on Mediterranean coast north of Tyre.
North of where?
Of Tyre.
So that's where is this at? In the Middle East, right around where Israel is at. But this chart clearly says that this is talking about Panama and Guatemala. This is the only one that actually gives you a location. Now, how do you mess that up? How do you mess that up when it actually gave you the place?
Mazarites inserted Zidon there.
Unto Zidon.
That was inserted.
But it says that a haven of ships, right? So they just looked at the map and said, oh yeah, Panama got plenty of water. A whole bunch of ships in there. But it actually told you where it's at.
Panama Canal.
Let's get Joshua 19 and 10. Joshua 19 and 10. It says that he's going to be around water. Joshua 19 and 10.
The book of Joshua, chapter 19 and verse 10. And the third lot came up for the children of Zebulun.
Who?
Up for the children of Zebulun.
That's who we talking about. Zebulun, go ahead.
According to their families. And the border of their inheritance was unto Sarid.
Go ahead.
And their border went up toward the sea.
Towards where?
Toward the sea.
Because it says that he's going to be for a haven of ships. So now it's showing you that his borders is by some water. Read.
And Maralah, and reached to Dabashit,
Woo.
and reached to the river that is before Jokneam.
It reached to the what?
The river that is before Jokneam.
So it's got this river, just like, so we got the sea and the river showing you that they are by water, just like he prophesied. Go ahead.
And turned from Sarid eastward toward the sun rising unto the border of Chislot Tabor, and then goes out to Dabarat and goes up to Japhia, and from there pass along to the east to Gitah Hefer, and Etan Kazim, and goes out to Ramon, Mithor, and Niyah.
Jump on down to 16. We'll get you off the hook.
Verse 16. And this is the inheritance of the children of Zebulun, according to their families. These cities with their villages.
So it showed us right here, this has been fulfilled because Zebulun was for the haven of the sea. It gave us the river and the sea.
For all of them. It was Palestine. For all of them.
Exactly. So it's showing you exactly where this stuff is at. Now, let's see that the Messiah come to Zidon. Let's get Mark 7.
Every single last one of them places is Palestine.
Hey, you'll be fine if you don't say it.
I got you.
Mark 7 and 24.
That's crazy.
So let's see. Mark 7 and 24.
The book of Mark, chapter 7 and verse 24. And from there he arose and went into the borders of Tyre and Zidon.
Wow, wait a minute. So the Messiah came to Guatemala. Wow.
And entered into an house, and would have no man known it, but he could not be hid.
Jump down to verse 31.
Verse 31. And again, departing from the coast of Tyre.
From the coast of where?
Of Tyre.
From the coast of Tyre. Go ahead.
And Zidon, and he came unto the sea of Galilee, through the midst of the coast of Decapolis.
So right here, the Messiah then came to Panama and Guatemala. Wow. So it's showing you exactly where this is located at. So I don't know how in the world they came up with Guatemala and Panama. Go ahead.
After we were, when the Messiah came, we were already dispersed, correct?
Some of us were. All right. Let's go back to Genesis 49. Genesis 49 and verse 14.
The book of Genesis, chapter 49 and verse 14. Issachar is a strong donkey, couching down between two burdens.
So Issachar is a strong donkey couching down between two burdens. So they say, well, you know that this is the Mexicans because they're the ones who work hard. And they got the donkey on the flag and all this kind of stuff, right? Let's get, matter of fact, keep reading. Verse 15.
And he saw the rest was good.
He saw that rest.
That rest was good. And the land that it was pleasant, and bowed his shoulder to bear, and became a servant unto tribute.
So right here, he says, and he saw that rest was good. Who's going to actually bring us rest? Mashiach, right? That's what Noah brought after the flood. His name means rest or comfort. And it says, and the land that was pleasant, and he bowed his shoulders to bear. Did a Mashiach ever bow his shoulders for something? And it says, and became a servant unto tribute. Let's find out. Let's get 1 Chronicles 12 and 32. So they used this to say when they was coming to America on the boats, because Issachar understood the stars and the moon. That's how he navigated his way to get to America. All right, so you got if you're not Issachar, then you won't never get the feast days right unless he's within your gates.
That's the question.
Go ahead.
How did the Messiah and all of them do the feast days with Issachar not being there?
Exactly.
If Issachar is the only one that can tell the feast days by the days, how in the world was the Messiah and all of those that were in Jerusalem at his time, how were they keeping the feast days if they weren't there? It don't make sense.
Exactly. Pick it up, read. Verse 32.
1 Chronicles 12 and 32. And the children of Issachar were men that had understanding of the times, to know what Israel ought to do. The heads of them were 200, and all their brethren were at their commandment.
So right here it says, It's talking about they had understanding of the stars and the moon and all of this stuff. So that they used this to say that this is how they knew how to navigate and get to America on the boats. All right? But I'm going to go back and read this Issachar again. From verse 15, it says, and he saw that rest was good, and the land that it was pleasant, and he bowed his shoulder to bear, and became a servant unto tribute. So it says, verse 14, Issachar is a strong donkey, couching down between two burdens. Let's see how this pertains to a Mashiach. Let's get Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 6. Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6.
Isaiah 9 and 6. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder.
Beware?
Upon his shoulder.
So the government shall be upon his shoulders. It just told us that Issachar was the strong guy crouching down between two burdens, and he bowed his shoulder. Finish that out.
And his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty Power, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace.
So this is one thing on his shoulder, the government. Let's get Ezekiel chapter 12 and verse 6. Ezekiel 12 and 6.
Ezekiel chapter 12 and verse 6. In their sight shall you bear it upon your shoulders.
Do what?
In your sight shall you bear it upon your shoulders.
So in your sight shall you bear it upon your shoulders. Go ahead.
And carry it forth in the twilight.
Go ahead.
You shall cover your face.
They blindfolded the Messiah. Go ahead.
And you shall not see the ground, for I have set you for a sign unto the house of Israel.
Read that again.
For I have set you for a sign unto the house of Israel.
So I'll set you for a sign for the house of Israel. This was showing you a picture of the Messiah with the government on his shoulders, the two burdens, and the state order cross. Let's go back to Genesis 49. Let's get Dan. They don't even make up something and say Dan is nowhere. They just say he don't exist no more. Genesis 49 and 16.
Genesis chapter 49 and verse 16. Dan shall judge his people.
Hold on, let me stop right there one more time. Hold on. I'm gonna read this thing with Issachar one more time. And he saw that rest was good, and the land that was pleasant, and bowed his shoulders to bear, and became a servant unto tribute. Now it picks up at Dan. According to that, does this tell us anywhere where Issachar is at? No indication, right? Okay. Now pick it up at Dan.
Verse 16. Dan shall judge his people.
He shall do what?
Judge his people.
So Dan shall judge his people. Let's see. Did Dan do this? Hold what you got. Let's get Judges chapter 13. Judges 13. And pick it up at verse 1.
Judges chapter 13 and verse 1. And the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of Yahuwah. And Yahuwah delivered them into the hand of the Philistines 40 years.
How long?
40 years.
40 years. 40 years in the desert. Messiah 40 years fasting. Moses 40 days. Go ahead.
And there was a certain man of Zorah, of the family of the Danites.
Of the family of who?
Of the Danites.
Of the Danites. Read.
Whose name was Manoah. And his wife was barren and bare not.
Go ahead.
And the messenger of Yahuwah appeared unto the woman, and said unto her, Behold, now are you barren, and bear not, but you shall conceive and bear a son.
Go ahead.
Now therefore beware, I pray you, and drink not wine, nor strong drink, and eat not of any unclean thing. For lo, you shall conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come upon his head. For the child shall be a Nazarite.
He shall be what?
A Nazarite.
A Nazarite. Anybody know who this is talking about? Samson, right? Jump down to verse 24.
Verse 24. And the woman bare a son, and called his name Samson.
Call him who?
Samson.
Go ahead.
And the child grew, and Yahuwah blessed him. And the spirit of Yahuwah began to move him at times in the camp of Dan.
In the camp of who?
In the camp of Dan.
Go ahead.
Between Zerah and Eshtel.
Okay. Let's get Judges chapter 15 and verse 20.
Judges 15 and 20. And he judged Israel.
He did what?
And he judged Israel.
Because it told us over here that Genesis 49 that Dan shall judge his people. Read that again.
And he judged Israel.
And he did what?
And he judged Israel.
How long?
In the days of the Philistines, 20 years.
So Dan already judged his people in the form of Samson. Not some future thing, because again, Dan means to judge. Messiah is the ultimate judge. That's going to do this. All right? Let's go back to Genesis 49. And pick it up at verse 16. Pick it up at a serpent by the way. Go ahead.
An adder in the pass that bites the horse's heels, so that his rider shall fall backwards.
So that his rider what?
Shall fall backwards.
So it says, Dan shall be a serpent. Let's see how. Let's get Judges 18 and 1. Judges 18 and 1.
The book of Judges, chapter 18 and verse 1. In those days, there was no king in Israel. And in those days, the tribe of the Danites,
Of who?
the tribe of the Danites,
Go ahead.
sought them an inheritance to dwell in. For unto that day, all their inheritance had not fallen unto them among the tribes of Israel. And the children of Dan sent of their family 5 men from their coast, men of valor from Zorah and from Eshtel, to spy out the land and to search it. And they said unto them, Go, search the land. Who when they came to Mount Ephraim, to the house of Micah, they lodged there.
To the house of who?
Micah, they lodged there.
All right, jump down to verse 27.
Verse 27. And they took the things which Micah had made, and the priest which he had, and came to Laish, unto a people that were quiet and secure, and they smote them with the edge of the sword, and burned the city with fire.
Go ahead.
And there was no deliverer, because it was far from Zidon.
Far from where?
From Zidon.
From Panama, Guatemala.
From Zidon.
Go ahead.
And they had no business with any man. And it was in the valley that lies by Beit Rahab. And they built a city and dwelled therein. And they called the name of the city Dan. after the name of Dan their father, who was born unto Israel, howbeit the name of the city was Laish at the first. And the children of Dan set up graven images.
They did what?
Set up graven images.
They set up graven images, directly breaking the commandments. This is what makes them a serpent. Go ahead.
And Jonathan, the son of Gershom, the son of Manasseh, he and his sons were priests to the tribe of Dan until the day of the captivity of the land. And they set them up Micah's graven images, which he made all the time that the house of the Most High was in Shiloh.
So this is what makes Dan that serpent, by the way, because he set up these graven images. He had a great thing to do. They was the judges in Israel, and they led the people to idolatry. Let's go back to Genesis 49. Genesis chapter 49. Now we're going to pick it up at verse 18.
Genesis 49 and 18.
Still talking about Dan.
I have waited for your salvation, O Yahuwah.
So according to this, does this show us anywhere that Dan is at? No, right? All right. Read the next verse. Verse 19.
Verse 19. Gad, a troop shall overcome him.
So it says, Gad, a troop shall overcome him. Go ahead.
But he shall overcome at the last.
So it only gives us one verse with Gad. According to this, where is Gad? We don't know, right? All right. Let's break this down. So it says, Gad, a troop shall overcome him. What is a troop? Army, right? Was Columbus an army? He was an explorer.
Cavalry.
All right. Let's get 1 Chronicles chapter 5. So it says, Gad, a troop shall overcome him. 1 Chronicles 5. And we're going to pick it up at verse 10.
1 Chronicles 5 and 10. And in the days of Saul, they made war with the Hagarites.
With the who?
With the Hagarites.
So this is them having a war with the Hagarites. Read.
Who fell by their hand, and they dwelt in their tents throughout all the east land of Gilead. And the children of Gad dwelt over against them in the land of Bashan, unto Salcah, Joel the chief, and Shepham the next, and Jaanan and Saphat in Bashan.
Jump down to verse 18. I ain't gonna do you like that.
Verse 18, the sons of Reuben and the Gadites, and half of the tribe of Manasseh.
Hold on, who is this? Who those are again? Read that again.
Verse 18, the sons of Reuben and the Gadites.
And the Gadites. Read.
And half the tribe of Manasseh, of valiant men able to bear buckler and sword, and to shoot with the bow, and skillful in war, were 440,703 that went out to war. And they made war with the Hagarites, with Jetur, and Nephish, and Nodab, and they were helped against them. And the Hagarites were delivered into their hand, and all that were with them. And they cried to the Most High in battle, and he was entreated of them, because they put their trust in him.
Because they did what?
They put their trust in him.
Because right here they winning because they put their trust in him. Now jump down to verse 25.
Verse 25. And they transgressed.
They did what?
And they transgressed.
They transgressed, meaning they broke the commandments. Read.
Against the Most High of their fathers, and went a-whoring after the gods of the people of the land, whom the Most High destroyed before them.
Go ahead.
And the power of Israel stirred up the spirit of Pul, king of Assyria, and the spirit of Tiglath Pilneser, king of Assyria, and he carried them away, even the Reubenites and the Gadites, and the half of the tribe of Manasseh. And he brought them to Halah, and Habor, and Harah, and to the river Gozan unto this day.
So this is when they were actually, the truth overcame them because they fell in sin. While they was doing right, the Most High was with them and he delivered them. But right here, this is when the truth overcame them. Let's go back. Genesis 49. And read that verse again.
Genesis 49 and verse 19. Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last.
But he shall what?
But he shall overcome at the last.
He shall overcome at the last. Let's see how this pertains to Hamashiach. Go ahead, I'll get this one. Get Hosea 6 and 9. You can get it. Hosea 6 and 9.
The book of Hosea, chapter 6 and verse 9. And as troops of robbers, as troops of robbers, go ahead. Wait for a man.
They do what?
Wait for a man.
As troops of robbers wait for a man. Notice it says they wait for a man. Read.
So the company of priests.
Company of who?
The company of priests.
It says the company of priests. I want y'all to keep that in mind. It says, as troops of robbers wait for a man, so the company of priests. Go ahead.
So the company of priests murder in the way by consent.
By what?
By consent.
Murder in the way by consent. All right. Let's get Matthew 26 and 45.
The book of Matthew, chapter 26 and verse 45. Then comes he to his disciples and said unto them, sleep on now, and take your rest. Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners.
Into the hands of who?
Of sinners. Rise, let us be going. Behold, he is at hand that does betray me.
He is at hand that does betray me. Go ahead.
And while he yet spake, lo, Judas, one of the 12, came, and with him a great multitude with swords.
Who came?
With him, Judas, one of the 12, came, and with him a great multitude.
A great multitude with what?
With swords and staves from the chief priests.
From the who?
From the chief priests and elders of the people.
So right here, it's showing us the fulfillment of what Hosea was talking about over here. But it says, but they like men have transgressed. Hold on, let me get that exact verse.
6 and 9.
6 and 9. And as a troop of robbers wait for a man, so the company of priests murder in the way by consent, but they commit lewdness. Read me that verse one more time, Mike.
And while he yet spake, Judas, one of the 12, came, with him a great multitude with swords and staves from the priests, from the chief priests and elders of the people.
Go ahead.
Now he that betrayed him gave them a sign, saying, whomever I shall kiss, that same is he. Hold him fast.
So right here, this is them priests that was plotting and came with that troop and got him. Now we know how he overcame at the last because he got up.
Right.
He rose. All right, let's go back to Genesis 49. Almost finished with these. Genesis 49. And pick it up at verse 20.
Verse 20. Out of Asher his bread shall be fat, and he shall yield royal dainties.
So right here, Asher only got one verse. So, does this show us where Asher is at? Nope, it don't show us, right? All right. So it says he's gonna yield royal dainties. This is some good food. Get Deuteronomy 33 and 24. Deuteronomy 33 and verse 24.
Deuteronomy 33 and 24. And of Asher he said, let Asher be blessed with children. Let him be acceptable to his brethren, and do dip, and let him dip his foot in oil.
In what?
In oil.
So it's showing you Asher was in a rich land. He had great in a rich possession. Talking about dipping his foot in oil. That means like the fat of the land. But they don't give us too much with that with Asher. But we see this in Luke. Let's get Luke 2 and 36. Luke 2 and 36.
The book of Luke, chapter 2, and verse 36.
Hold on. Pull that chart back up again. All right. Read that.
Verse 36. And there was one, Anna, a prophetess, the daughter of Phanuel, of the tribe of Asher.
Of the tribe of who?
Of Asher. She was of a great age, and had lived with an husband 7 years from her virginity. And she was a widow of about 84 years, which departed not from the temple, but served the Most High with fasting and prayers night and day. And she, coming in that instant, gave thanks likewise unto Yahuwah, and spake of him to all of them that looked for redemption in Jerusalem.
And where?
In Jerusalem.
So we got a woman from Asher still in where?
Jerusalem.
In Jerusalem. So according to them, where's the Asher?
Colombia to Uruguay.
Colombia to Uruguay, but we got one of them right here, still in the land, in the temple on the daily. Don't even depart. And she know who she is. Let's go back, Genesis 49. Genesis 49, let's pick it up at verse 21.
Verse 21. Naphtali is a hind let loose.
He what?
He is a hind let loose.
So Naphtali is a hind let loose. Go ahead.
He gives goodly words.
He do what?
He gives goodly words.
So he got one verse. Naphtali is a hind let loose. He gives goodly words. Not too much on him as well. But according to this one verse, does it show us where he's at?
Hawaii.
He's in Hawaii?
Yeah, Hawaii gotta be. He give goodly words.
He gives goodly words. He say aloha.
That's the only thing that can mean.
Right. So according to this, it don't tell us where he's at, but it tells us he gives us goodly words. All right. Verse 22.
Verse 22. Joseph is a fruitful bough, even a fruitful bough by a well, whose branches run over the wall.
So it's letting us know that Joseph would have a lot of children. They say, well, that let you know that they're Puerto Ricans because there'd be a whole bunch of them in the car packed up.
The logic behind this stuff.
All logic, don't, you know what I'm saying? And if you go off that, it'll actually sound good and tricky. But when you go off the precept, you see it don't make no sense. All right, read that again.
Joseph is a fruitful bough, even a fruitful bough by a well, whose branches run over the wall.
Whose branches run over the wall. Go ahead.
The archers have sorely grieved him.
So the archers have did what?
Sorely grieved him.
So the archers have sorely grieved him. Matter of fact, stop right there. All that, let's get Numbers 27 and 1.
The same month.
Can you go back and look at that as well? To say Puerto Rican and Cuban.
So who is Joseph supposed to be? Ephraim and Manasseh?
Ephraim and Manasseh is supposed to be the Puerto Ricans for Ephraim, and for Manasseh is Cubans.
Okay.
Genesis 49 and verse 23. The archers have sorely grieved him.
The what?
The archers have sorely grieved him.
Now we're speaking in the past tense. The archers have sorely grieved him. This is about who? Joseph, right? Go ahead.
And shot at him. And hated him.
And did what?
And hated him.
Did these things happen with Joseph? Did somebody shoot at him and hate him? Go ahead.
But his bow abode in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty power of Jacob. From there is the shepherd, the stone of Israel.
So it's talking about Joseph and Messiah at the same time. Go ahead.
Even by the power of your Father, who shall help you, and by the Almighty, who shall bless you with blessings of Shamaim above, blessings of the deep that lies under blessings of the breast and of the womb. The blessings of your Father have prevailed above the blessings of my progenitors, unto the utmost bound of the everlasting hills. They shall be on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him that was separate from his brother.
That was what?
That was separate from his brother.
That was separate from his brothers. This has already taken place. So we finished with Joseph now. According to this, where is Joseph? They don't tell us, right? Oh, Right, he's right there. So according to this, Joseph is in the audience with us right now. All right, let's get this last one. Genesis 49:27. Benjamin. That is how they say it. Benjamin. Go ahead.
Verse 27. Benjamin shall raven as a wolf.
So they say Benjamin shall raven as a wolf. And this is his music. Because you know that the Jamaicans, they, oh, right?
Like Bob Marley.
Exactly like Bob Marley.
They tell you they Judah.
Right. So in Jamaica, they got the lion on the flag, right? So they tell you themselves that they come from Judah. But the people over here that made up a chart and say, no, you're not from Judah. You are Benjamin. And you shall raven as a wolf when you do your music.
Yeah, raven don't need to be out.
What does raven mean?
Like prey, like hunt.
Exactly. It means to devour because they were a warlike tribe. It has nothing to do with no music. All right? So again, they use Genesis 49 to justify where the people went. And they say, through this, but we read every one of them, and according to this, only one person showed where they actually gave us a landmass, and that was Zebulon. It said his borders shall be unto Zidon, and they said that was Panama to Guatemala, right? But nobody else. And they also use second edges. Let's go there. Second Ezra, chapter 13 and verse 40. Second Ezra, chapter 13 and verse 40. Go ahead.
Second Ezra 13 and 40. Those are the 10 tribes.
How many tribes?
The 10 tribes.
Those are the 10 tribes. Go ahead.
Which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Shalmaneser, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters.
Carried them over the waters. Read.
And so came they into another land.
They came into another land. Read.
But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen.
They would do what?
Leave the multitude of the heathen.
So they leaving the multitude of the heathens. Read.
And go forth into a further country.
Into where?
A further
They
country.
go into a further country. Go ahead.
Where never mankind dwelt.
Where never mankind dwelt. Now, for some reason, our mind jumps us all the way to this time and says, well, America is the only place that nobody was at. But if you got understanding, when you go back and read Genesis 11, it'll let you know that people been on this side of the world, just not in every place. Go ahead.
That they might keep their own statutes.
So they plan on leaving the heathens so they can do what?
That they might keep their statutes.
So they trying to go so they can keep the commandments. Go ahead.
Which they never kept in their own land.
Which they never kept in their own lands. Go ahead.
And they entered into the Euphrates.
They did what?
Entered into the Euphrates.
They entered into the Euphrates. Now, automatically, some kind of way, our mind says it's got to be boats here. Because it says they entered into the Euphrates. Plus, the elders put this in our head. Because this is what they said. They entered into the Euphrates. They went into the Euphrates. And then they went down around the Horn of Africa. And they entered into the Indian Ocean. And then they came up. And that's where Issachar come in. Because he understood the navigation of the sun, moon, and the stars. And that's how he guided them there. It don't say none of that. That's all adding. Pick that verse up from 43 again.
Verse 43. And they entered into the Euphrates
Into the Euphrates by what?
by the narrow passages of the river.
By the narrow passages of the river. What's a passage? Pathway, right? So it says the narrow passages of the river. Go ahead.
For the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood.
Did what?
And held still the flood.
So he held still the flood. Go ahead.
Till they were passed over.
Until they were passed over. Now, he says he held still the flood until they were passed over. Let's see, can we find in Scripture the children of Israel going through a river? All what we got right here, we coming back, and let's get Genesis 31. Genesis 31 and 17. Genesis 31 and 17.
Genesis chapter 31 and verse 17. Then Yaakov rose up and set his sons and his wives upon camels.
Upon what?
Upon camels.
So they are riding camels. Read.
And he carried away all his cattle and all his goods which he had gotten, the cattle of his getting which he had gotten in Padan Aram.
So remember, Jacob got all, they riding camels, and he got all of his livestock with him. Keep that in mind. He ain't riding camels, and he got all of his livestock with him. Go ahead.
Which he had gotten in Padan Aram, for to go to Isaac his father in the land of Canaan. And Laban went to shear his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the images that were her father's. And Jacob stole away unawares to Laban the Syrian, in that he told him not that he fled. So he fled with all that he had, and he rose up and passed over the river.
He did what?
Rose up and passed over the river.
So it's showing us right here that Jacob, they was riding camels, and they had all of their livestock. They didn't get on no boats, and they did what through the river?
And passed over the river.
So it's showing you that they actually walked through a river. They didn't get on no boats. They didn't put the livestock and the cattle and the camels and stuff on a boat. They actually walked through a river. Let's further show this. Let's get Joshua chapter 2 and verse 7. Get your definition for this. Joshua 2 and 7.
The book of Joshua, chapter 2 and verse 7. And the men pursued after them the way to Jordan unto the fords. And as soon as they which pursued after them were gone out, they shut the gate.
So it says, and the men pursued after them the way to Jordan unto the fords. Look that fords up for me.
It says, ford, a passing.
A what?
A passing. And it says, crossing place.
A what?
A crossing place.
A crossing place, because it says they entered into the narrow passages of the Euphrates. So it's a crossing place. You go to the shallow part of it, and you can walk through it. You don't need a boat to get through it.
Crossing place of a river.
The what?
A crossing place of a river.
Crossing place of a river. Let's get Judges 3 and 28. Judges 3 and 28.
The book of Judges, chapter 3 and verse 28. And he said unto them, follow after me, for Yahuwah